guys, as you know, we have started the mock interview series of around 20 to 30 videos for data engineer. So this is going to be another video of the same series. Trust me, this video is going to add immense value in your data engineering and interview preparation journey. So hey everyone, my name is Shubham Wadekar, and without wasting any time, let's start the interview. But before that, do subscribe to my YouTube channel for the upcoming videos and join my WhatsApp channel for more data engineering stuff.
So here's a list of elements basically with you, right? And as you can see, some of the elements are occurring more than once, right? So your task is to build an algorithm to get a list of integers basically along with their counts, how many times they're repeating, right? Like suppose 4 is coming like 4 times, 3 is coming 3 times, 2 is coming 2 times, like this. So you can build up an algorithm like this. So if you have any of the doubt, you can ask.
So like this is the number and this is the occurrence, right?
Occurrence, a count of occurrence, right? Number of times that it has appeared in the
So
list.
4 is occurring 4 times like that.
Yes, yes. So 6 would be
So
missing from here and 1 also, so we can add that as well. 1 and 6, which are appearing 1 time, and 5 is also appearing 2 times, basically. So that should also be the part of output, basically.
yeah,
Right. So you have any questions regarding this?
no, Arjun, yeah, we
Okay,
will try.
cool. So before like coding, do you want to somewhat throw some light on like how you want to solve it, what data structure you would use, and uh, like what sort
Like
of technique?
here what I can see is the output is it's a list of tuples. So I think I will try it with the list comprehension and we'll just insert the output into tuple format.
Okay.
That's how we'll try. Just we'll iterate through this input list and just try to make a logic so we can get this output.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
So I can try to run it, right?
Yep. So you are not printing anything. Uh, so this way you are just looping, but you are not
I,
accumulating the count. You are looping as per n number of times. So that's why it's repeating.
like it's only loop until
Ideally, you should loop till nth number in the list basically, but for comparison and count basically, but you should not be printing it every time. You just need to store the count. Maybe you can use any other data structure as well in between, like key value
I
pair.
can directly print it in a dictionary, but in a tuple format. Uh, can I do the output in the dictionary?
Yeah, but if you have got your output in a dictionary, which is key value format, so you can easily loop over the dictionary and convert it in the tuple format, right? It is a list of tuples.
Okay.
So it could be two-step process in which first step would be dictionary, then second step would be you are converting the dictionary into list of tuples elements. You miss the colon at line number 14. Colon, sorry, not semicolon. Yeah. Mhm. Cool. So can you convert this list into the list of, oh sorry, dictionary into list of tuples? Nope. Basically, not this way because you are just taking its keys, right? So you have to iterate it over that and use its key and value. So why you are using items? You are already storing that those items in key and value, right? So now you have
Just
key and value. So you can easily create a tuple out of that, right?
by iterating only, you're saying, right?
Mhm. Over here you should think a bit. Now you have key and value, right? You have four and four is occurring four times. You have both the values. One is in key, one is in value. Now, how would you create a tuple? Then you can append it in the list as the final operation, right?
List. Is it correct? Two times. Okay.
Yep. Cool. So,
I could have done it much faster, just got confused. I don't know why. Yeah, but
mhm.
sure.
So what would be the complexity if you talk about that for this code?
So in this complexity, whole program, we can say it is n square
Okay.
or O, like here we have one loop
Mhm.
and then again we have to iterate. So that's why
Mhm.
4 is to n square.
So isn't it n plus n and not n cross n?
Yeah,
So the whole complexity, time complexity would be n plus n basically because you are not uh, having like nested loops, right? So your code running would not be exponential, right? So you are iterating one, then second. So it's n plus n, which is 2n. So we ignore the whole number over here. So your complexity would be n at max, not n square.
for the whole program, it is
Cool. Okay. So, but in terms of the space complexity, it would also be n because you are using extra data structure over here to accommodate in the space basically, right? You are use dictionary, right? So other data structure is also used. So space complexity would also be there. It would not be big of one in any case. So that's cool. So let's begin to another problem, right? So that's more sort of a data engineering sort of practical problem. So I'll write it down in the chat. So suppose you have a 10 GB text file or 100 GB word, and any size works basically. So you just have to write a function to read the file line by line, right? Without loading the entire file into the memory. So you can copy paste the problem over here. So yeah. So that's a big file basically, right? So you would have to write a code which does not corrupt your memory basically. Uh, you have to read it line by line. So what
Because
approach do you?
it's allocating only one line and then replacing by the next line.
Yes. So what sort of implementation or like strategy comes in your mind regarding this sort of a problem?
Like a text file, I think like basically what I can do is just to iterate over it line by line, and
Mm-hmm.
only a simple function I would write just to iterate line by line. And for example, if I need any specific value from it, so we'll iterate for the same conditionally.
But if you are reading that file, aren't you keeping the complete file in the memory?
Mm, yes.
So your approach is right, but you just need to tweak it a bit more so that your entire data set is not loaded into the memory completely. It should be on demand. Are you able to think about some concept that we have in Python we can use regarding this?
We have in file handling, we have function for read lines, but
Mhm.
I don't know if that fits here, or because I guess it reads the entire line, but memory wise, I'm not aware of it.
So which function it is?
This read line.
Okay. So any Pythonic way can you think of, like as we do in vanilla Python?
Without fitting into the memory.
So one catch over here is on demand, right?
Mhm.
So are you able to think? Surely it would be a function, but it would be a different kind of a function.
No, Arjun, like
Okay.
not able to recall.
So okay, no worries. So are you aware of generators?
Yes,
So
we use
we use a specific keyword in our generators, right? So what is that keyword?
the yield keyword we use.
Yes, correct. So that's the only word which separates a function with a generator, right? So can we implement this sort of can we implement this through generator?
Because if yield allows us, we can definitely do it, but not pretty much aware of generators.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Cool. So that's cool. Done with Python. So I guess we can move forward to the SQL now, right? So how much do you rate yourself in SQL?
In SQL, I rate 3.5 out of 5.
3.5 out of 5. Okay, that's pretty good actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I rate myself a bit lower than this even. Yeah, that's awesome. So I'll give you a problem statement. have this sort of a problem where you have to identify duplicate emails, right? So what sort of data set it is? It is a very simple data set. It is like this, right? So you can consider one is like ID and one another column is like email. So you can remove the Python code. We are not running the SQL code to check how it's working, but you can form up a pseudo logic to check how the functionality of the query. You can form up a query basically. So you can use the same code editor of this Python. You can remove the complete Python and you can paste the new problem over there. Yep. So you need an output of the users which are having more than one email ID. So which means that our email column is repetitive. So it is ID comma email. Yep.
Just naming it user table.
Okay.
Yeah, Arjun, I think this might give us this will like group every email. So here the output we can get like we have email count. So we have this ABC one
Mm-hmm.
and the count will be more than one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Sounds good. So let's
Oh,
move to another problem quickly. Uh, so you have this sort of a data set, right? So the expected time series output from this is somewhat like this. So you can quickly copy paste this on the ID. Yeah. You can give a space between line 62 and 63. Yeah, awesome. So so basically you have ID, then you have start timestamp, then end timestamp. Initially, all the end timestamp are null, right, at source. So now you as a data engineer is writing a transformation query in which your data would be partitioned by ID, right? If you take ID 1, right, your start times end timestamp for the first date would be the next one. When the it would reach the last timestamp, last one does not have another corresponding start timestamp, so it would be null, then timestamp for that. Right. Similarly, it would be follow for the next ID. So it's like a rotating logic based upon the IDs. So
This one here is this one, and this one
yeah,
should be from here. But
yeah, but the
here it is.
yeah, but ID is two right over there. That's why that previous one was for ID one, so that ended. For ID one, it was the last start timestamp. Correct. Then starts the second ID with a new start timestamp.
Right. Understood.
Yeah.
So like start time here, it is the time series output of the next, right?
Yes. Based on the ID, individual
Okay,
ID.
okay. The three columns. Mhm. So like I would like to try here window functions, and I think I can try this with the uh, lead window function in which we track the next record,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and
Go ahead.
the scenario for ID, I think we can solve it by partitioning by ID.
Okay. Cool.
Like
Yeah.
is the okay? Okay, I will try.
Yeah. The approach is correct. You can try writing the code for the same.
Yes, Rajan, I think this will give us this full output.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, that's correct. Just one small minor change that you should not use asterisk because okay, you are using a different
Yeah, because I used
alias.
asterisks
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there are only three columns. That's why.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, then it's fine. If you are using the same column, then you cannot use the asterisk. It would create
In
confusion.
a large data set, it's not feasible and not. It's a very bad sign. Yeah. Understood.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, let's quickly see some of your projects, I guess. You have worked on PySpark, right?
Yes, I have worked a bit on PySpark.
So can you tell me how PySpark handles parallelism
So in
under the hood?
PySpark, this handles like what exactly happens under the hood is it divides the workload or the data set into multiple parts, and they are processed by different nodes, worker nodes, we can say. So, and they are working parallelly. So, for example, we have a 100 GB file. So, just in case, we can divide it into 10 separate parts of 10 GB, and then the processing can be done, and it's fast according to. Yeah,
Okay. So could you also throw some light on what is a stage, what is a task, what is a job?
so, like PySpark follows a master slave structure. In this, there is a master node, and there are worker nodes, and between is the cluster manager. And inside worker nodes, there are multiple, what you say, executors, in which we have memory and which we have task. So task is like the smallest unit or smallest code, you can say, that is executing. So like the cluster manager manages the configuration, or like how many numbers of the worker nodes will be provided, if there is any rescaling needed, or any configuration up and down needed according to the data set. And it's just a mediator between the master node and the worker nodes. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. And okay. And stage is the intermediate you were saying.
Stage is like, you can say, like when as soon as a PySpark job or Spark job is executed, in stages, the master nodes after that are DAG. You can say acyclic graphs are made, in which there is a execution plan is made, like most optimized way to process the data. So I think this is where the stage comes in.
Okay. Hmm. All right.
Sure.
So, yeah, let's go to another question now. Uh, so, okay. So what exactly is a partition in PySpark, and how do you optimize partitions in PySpark? Suppose you have a large data set, like suppose 100 GB or terabytes. So how do you optimize partitions over that? What are the strategies for that or calculation for that?
Partitioning is a strategy, like in which what we do, like we divide the data set according to, you can say, uh, very high cardinality columns. For example, we divide the data set into, uh, for example, I am saying this is a data set that will be divided on the base of ID, it will be divided on the base of time, or it will be divided on the base of date. So in that, accordingly, date wise, there will be what we say, data sets divided, and which helps in processing the data parallelly more optimized way. And for data skewness, we can use repartitioning or coalesce. As per our requirement, we need to increase the number of partitions or decrease the number of partitions.
Okay. Suppose you have a machine of 100 cores, right? So in ideally, like how many partitions would you make in a 100 core machine?
I guess 10 partitions I will make.
Okay, that are not less. Like you have 100 cores.
Yeah, not pretty sure about this one.
Okay, no worries. So you have worked on Lambda, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what actually is a Lambda layer?
So Lambda layer is a useful service provided by Lambda. For example, if you are using same code again and again to deploy, so what we can do is we can make a zip file or a package. We can fix it, and we can use it again for multiple times for different services. It's like we have inheritance in OOPS. We can reuse the code. So that's how it is function.
Okay, okay. So let me give you a scenario where you have to build a CDC pipeline, right? And the type is SCT type 2, right? And so in AWS, we have to implement your sources are two, basically, for now. One is a SQL database, another is a Mongo database, right? So you have to implement SCD type 2 and you have to maintain the data in the data warehouse at the end. So how would you create it and also explain like what is the SCD type 2 uh, CDC pipeline?
SCDs are like slowly changing dimensions, and type 2 is the one which we use when we want to preserve the historical data. The data we are changes we are making into the data, we want to track them and keep a history. In to achieve this, we create two, three column section like effective date and the expired date, and is it the record which is inserted now, we have a flag column. Is it true or not? For example, we have a previous address and current address, and which address is right now active. We can choose there, and also you can use surrogate key to keep a track of the record changing. So this is what STD2 is, and for creating a pipeline with you're saying from two different databases.
And you
Uh,
are finally
use,
dumping into a data warehouse. So how would you create a pipeline in AWS for this? Like whatever, if any row is changing in the Mongo database or SQL database, deleting or inserting or changing some column value, it should be reflected in the real time in your data warehouse. So how would you build that?
So this is a real-time streaming, so we have to use Kinesis, right?
We have to use, sorry.
Kinesis service for in AWS for real-time streaming.
Okay,
Uh,
so in
heck,
real time, what you would capture from there?
sorry.
Okay, suppose you are implementing Kinesis, right?
Yeah.
So what in Kinesis, what you are reading from those databases? What exactly you are reading? Are you reading bin logs? Are you reading data? Are you reading like querying data? Like what exactly you are reading?
I haven't used Kinesis much. Mainly have worked with batch process system in Glue. But to answer your question,
Okay, let's say you have to implement batch wise. Suppose
hmm,
it's not a real time application. Every 5 hours or 6 hours you have to update it where the data changes basically. So how you want to do it?
so so it is a type of incremental update. So of course, I will when the data is coming into the ingestion layer. So in S3 bucket, I'm assuming. So I will set a event notification with Lambda as soon as the file comes into the bucket, and the Lambda will trigger, and it will in turn trigger the ETL glue job, and that will process the data, check the file format, and check the data inconsistencies and duplicates. Will process it with PySpark and then change it into the Parquet file format, and then we'll again store it into the S3. And to move it to the Redshift data warehouse using the copy command, I can move it to the Redshift, or using Redshift Spectrum, I can also like query the data directly.
Cool. So for the ingestion layer from those databases, how you wanna use any of the tool? What sort of tool you wanna use for ingestion?
Like from on-prem, if I'm ingesting, okay, tool for ingestion
Suppose your SQL data is in AWS RDS, your
mhm,
Mongo is on another server, basically.
mhm.
So how you gonna bring that data to S3, ingest that in S3?
So in between, we can use an Python API, or apart from that, you can use AWS data migration service
Mhm.
for the same. With that, I can achieve.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Hmm. Okay. I think I'm good with the questions. And uh, so before I provide you the feedback, do you have any questions for me or like in general?
Yeah, mainly what what are the main expectations from this role you are expecting from my side? Any specific candidate requirements?
Generally, it is dependent upon the tech stack and the complexity of the tech stack, whether we are completely building on the cloud hybrid solution or uh, completely depending upon the complexity of that, right? So I believe that you have a varied tech stack, which is pretty good for your experience level. And the expectation is at your level would be very generic that you should be good with Python, SQL. That is a like no questions asked thing. And over the top of that, if you have worked upon AWS pipelines, worked with multiple services, so that's a plus point basically. So yeah, I would say generic expectation is this only on which you are there. Yeah, your voice is not coming. Yeah,
Am I audible now?
yeah.
Yeah, just saying that thanks for your time and thanks for the experience.
Yeah. So basically, a few things you can note basically, uh, especially in Python that you can dig a bit deeper on other things, like if you are handling large set of data, basically, right? How the memory is working, right? And how you are allocating the resources, right? Writing efficient code, basically. So that's very critical for Python, basically, especially in data engineering. Apart from that, I also saw some of the gaps in PySpark knowledge, basically, that you have to deep dive into PySpark as well, how exactly its memory is working, how stages are creating, right? And also how the parallelism is achieved, basically. Also in terms of the partitions, how many cores, what sort of calculations runs behind that. Okay, how for this sort of course, you can partition your data this much. There's no fixed formula, but there's a generic best practices. So you can study more on those basically, right? And also regarding these topics as well, there are like other partition functions which you would use, right? And in which scenario you would use which partition function, right? So you can deep dive a bit in PySpark as well. That's not a very big gap, but yeah, you are at a comfortable, good level basically. But it's just that if you would enhance it more, it would be better for you basically. And apart from that, I would say, yeah, you are good with AWS services. You are well versed. Python, you can just practice it a bit more. Sometimes
I
in
need to stick with that, yeah.
yeah. So Python is like Python and SQL should be like fluid basically. Your SQL is somewhat good basically. Python is also good, but you need more flow in that. It's just that. So yeah, logics are good. Logical problem solving is good, I would say. So it's just that you need to be more in the flow basically. So it's not like it comes with practice if you are daily practicing, right? So it would eventually come to you. And yeah, at your experience level, I'm saying that yeah, it's pretty good. So yeah,
Like, uh, is the recording over?
not yet.
So this part will be on YouTube or not this one? Like.
Uh,